paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic.
All your cards belong to me.
2 minutes into macing him in the eyeballs, I switched to pepper spray. He's like, it's all right, refreshing. And went back to the mace.
Magic is dying. I'm done. Selling everything.
I might be a hoarder. And yes,
I don't have the crayons or glue to explain this to you right now.
What, are you gonna die twice?
Oil will be worthless before magic cards will.
well, okay, Dr. Man.
That's Mr. Dr. Professor Jason.
You know, Dragon's Maze was right around the time where prize payout at an event could be like, first place is a box of Dragon Maze and second place is 25 Bitcoins.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Brainstorm Brewery. I'm Corbin Hostler, joined this week by DJ and Jason. We have been talking about some old Magic sets. We've been reminiscing on Dragon's Maze, as you might have heard. That's a fun one. I do a draft weekend a couple times a year here in Oklahoma. I like to do a throwback draft. We won't be doing Dragon's Maze. In fact, we had the option of Dragon's Maze last time. Instead, we used it as prize support and refused to draft it. But anyway, that's
prize
just
support. That's a white elephant.
It was one
It's
person
like a
got
monkey's paw.
one
I want
person got a
magic cards.
Shockland. Yeah, one person got a Shockland because if you remember right, Return to Ravnica had 5 shocks. Gatecrash had 5 shocks. Dragon's Maze had 10 shocks. However, you essentially got 1 a box.
And for anybody who doesn't know what a VHS is, a Voice of Resurgence also used to be a $70 card.
Played that thing in Cube over the weekend. It was good times when that card was good. Nostalgic over that one.
That was back when having one card worth $70 and every other card in the set be worth less than $1 was considered a bad thing and not like your template for success.
The only thing, yeah.
Yep.
Well, the One Ring has climbed up to $60. Speaking of,
To be
That's
fair,
okay.
though,
Japan.
to be fair, the One Ring being worth $60 when I beat my cousin to death for one with a rock.
yeah,
When we were fishing.
Your cousin?
Yeah, it wasn't. They were cousins, right?
Okay,
Did you know that he actually broke his toe when he kicked the helmet?
shut the up.
Did you know that that guy accidentally threw the dagger and he knocked out of the air with the sword?
I've
And they
seen some
just
pretty good
happened to be
memes.
filming. Remember that?
I've seen some pretty good memes of ones that are like, did you know that when Aragorn kicked that helmet off? Just like everyone
Aragorn
knows,
didn't
that's
kick
the
the helmet,
stupidest
dog.
fucking story, man.
Oh, he did. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, he did. He broke his foot. Did you know that? He kicked it so hard, he broke his foot, man. He's so real and edgy.
My version of overusing
His name
that
was
joke,
Strider at that point in the movie.
No, it wasn't.
my version of that
$50.
joke is getting to say that I went to the same high school as Viggo Mortensen.
And I stole the ball from Blake Griffin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
We're all celebrity adjacent. We're all 6 degrees away from Henry Kissinger at any given point.
From Henry, that's where you went? We're 6 feet away from Henry Kissinger, DJ.
Speaking of Henry Kissinger is dead and in
Has he-
hell, we are dead on with our breaking bulk picks this week.
We're something. Look, it's been a slow week in Magic Hall, okay?
It is.
And yeah, which is not a bad thing. I have to say, remember when it was slow, like every week in Magic? And every 3 months you had a set review and it was the only thing that mattered?
I said, yeah, it was a slow weekend, and then I remember like Thunder Junction stuff is about to get produced.
Well, we've got a little bit of time. I played some Magic over the last couple weeks. I went to the Hunter Burton, did coverage there. That was really fun. The Hunter Burton Memorial Open in Dallas is a charity event every year. Gaming to Prevent Suicide is the motto. It's named after Hunter Burton, a Pro Tour player who loved high stakes events. I wrote a lot of articles about the tournament over the years, and is really always I'm glad to go out there and cover it. It was its 10th anniversary. It also this year had the highlight of being the first large modern tournament after the Violent Outburst ban. There were 8 different decks in the top 8, 350 or so modern players.
Ooh.
8 different decks in the top 8. Now, one of those was Jund Creativity. One was 5-color Creativity. Maybe you want to call it 7
8
different
decks.
But like those decks look very different. So yeah, it was pretty sweet. And then the new development over the weekend, as we get through our modern update here, also had a bunch of diversity in the top 8. However, the one thing it also had was a lot of rhinos and domain rhino specifically, and more specifically, Leyline of the Guild Pack, Scion of Draco, showing up not just in rhinos, but in a whole bunch of decks in the format. It has genuinely, truly become, quote, a problem, along with Leyline.
A problem?
Well, it's nice that people are picking up. You ready for this? Breaking Bulk is a freebie for you all. Pick your poison from the newest set. It's 1 green sorcery, I think. Target player sacrifices an artifact, enchantment, or a creature with flying. You get to choose. So you can actually hit their Leyline on turn 1, so that they can't play the Scion on turn 2. You can hit the Scion on turn 2 if they play the Scion because it's an artifact and a creature with flying. So kind of weird, but that's where things are at right now.
That's wild, dog.
Yeah, not the Yawgmoth that people predicted, that's for sure.
Magic's... I'm glad that people are doing it again.
I'm
so are the pro
noticing...
players, because anytime like they're at an event and people don't recognize them and they recognize like YouTubers, they don't like that. Let's get the pro players back on camera so they can be happy again.
I think there's been a genuine excitement around constructed formats. Standard is great.
Yeah.
Modern seems to be okay. Pioneer is like fine.
They bothered to try
know.
and fix Modern with a ban.
Yeah, and look, I think Modern, maybe things will settle in a bad place, but right now things I think are good because everyone predicted Yawgmoth dominance, just like they predicted Yawgmoth dominance after the last set of bans. Instead, we got Rhino's dominance, and now we have Scion of Draco dominance in the first weekend.
I've always liked Scion of Draco.
It's definitely one of those Modern Horizons cards we put on the watch list a million years ago, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like, if something comes along...
It'll do something really big, really unfair.
I think a lot of that was because it costs like 1 million mana, technically.
Yeah.
Well, you want to hear something sweet? And this is for people who are following me on the Mitgo Masters. This is a little bit of a preview, but I'll be playing Calibrated Blast at the next one. So what's very interesting is that you get to play Scion of Draco in that deck as well.
That was already a deck too.
Yeah, and well, it's gotten all these cards. But the thing is, you can actually cast the Scion pretty like reasonably in the deck because Triomes just exist. Like I think Fetchland's Triomes are like likely to be. I mean, if Fetchlands weren't already one of the worst parts of Modern, making Fetchland Triome decks be such a large part of the format, which when you get into all the Leyline binding decks is essentially where things are. It's just kind of, it's just like no cost, you know, to just like having 1 mana Leyline bindings on turn 2. But that's just Modern. It's much more powerful than say Pioneer, where somehow Ancestral Recall is legal for the moment.
What is the Ancestral Recall?
Treasure Cruise.
Oh, sure.
Like Is It Phoenix was the best performing deck over the past month in Pioneer, despite Vampires obviously breaking out and being very good, etc. Because Phoenix is just solid, consistent. It had an extremely high win rate everyone talks about Vampires at the Pro Tour. It had a high win rate. No one knew anything about Vampires going in. Everyone knew about Is It Phoenix, and it had almost as high of a win rate, which was very, very, very high. And watching a whole bunch of Is It Phoenix matches, all that ever mattered is that they would do things, and then cast Treasure Cruise for 1 mana. And then they would win on that turn or the next. That was all it ever came down to. So I know that they've said Pioneer is the home of Delve cards or whatever. They don't have Fetchlands to power them, but there's just no way. There's just no way if they want... Like, Treasure Cruise is just ridiculous. And this is where the current level of cards that enable it. It'll only get more powerful, I'm sure. But that's where we're at in the Constructed. That was my spiel for the week. Now, let's move on to Breaking Bulk.
Breaking Bulk time. Breaking Bulk time. Break.
Oh, yeah, Breaking Bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking Bulk. The end.
I've got a good one.
Okay.
No one ever says they've got a bad one.
No, we do. Sometimes we have like very easy to guess ones. They're just
this is
throwaways.
dog shit. You're gonna guess it before I even finish describing it.
Sometimes that happens, I think. But
You
mine
won't get
is
mine.
a Fifth Dawn uncommon question mark. Fifth Dawn uncommon with a couple reprints. Artifact, of course, but that doesn't give much away. What else can I say about this that gives it a little more
Is it a color?
guessability? It is not a color, so it's not like a Neurok stealth thingy. It's not.
Does it have colored mana in its?
Yeah, that's what I was
text
getting
box?
at. Thank you.
No, that's why it's not
Composite
it's not a Neurok stealth
column.
thing. It's not
I
a-
was
it's not
going
a
to say it is a
plating.
composite column.
It's not a composite. It has no colored mana symbols anywhere
Okay.
on it. It's not a creature. I can tell you that. So
Gisgoria.
non-creature Fifth Dawn artifact with a couple reprints. I think. should
Is
be
it a
everything.
power? A power
It's not a mana rock.
counter thing?
It's not a power charge. It has no charge counters.
Not a thunderstaff or some.
No charge counters anywhere.
No one knows what's in Fifth Dawn, man.
I know what's in Fifth Dawn.
Jason knows what's in Fifth Dawn. He'll get it.
No, I don't. I don't know what's in Fifth Dawn.
Jason won't get it.
So it's an artifact.
It's a
Gisgor-
very, very
scales.
popular artifact.
Scales of
Non-creature
Gisgoria.
artifact.
Cast this card or seen it or used it many times.
Fifth
Skull
Dawn,
Clamp.
and it's not.
Skull Clamp. The Skull Clamp.
When was it
Because that card
reprinted?
was
Tell
not
me.
from Fifth Dawn.
Tell,
Corbin. That
give
card's
me
from
a
Dark
give me
Steel.
a reprint.
M13,
M13.
which should narrow it to exactly one card probably.
I don't know though.
Clock of Omens.
Oh,
you went
cool.
too- you
that was
went too
originally
fast,
Fifth Dawn. Oh yeah,
man.
that's a great pick, dude. Yeah.
That is a good
Well,
one.
I think one of the reasons this card is an even better pick because you're not going to see Fifth Dawn copies anywhere in bulk unless you get like a Holy Grail collection, unless you get the collection that has the Cabal coffers and the Force of Wills and all that in it.
But wasn't this in a commander deck at some point?
It was not. It was in just M13, which was over 10 years ago, and then
Yeah.
it was in the list recently. But the thing that piqued my interest about this card, the list version, is going for $10.
Is that a TCG Direct thing?
Yep. It's a something thing for sure.
TCG Direct.
The list strikes again.
There are more than a dozen. There are more than a dozen sales of this card in the past week at over $10. The highest was
That's very funny.
$14.99 a couple times, but the list version of Clock of Omens has a insane direct premium for any of you direct sellers out there.
That is hilarious.
Is there a
Yeah,
way we
I-
could find those and flag them?
Almost definitely, yes. It would not be
That'd
that
be
hard.
a thing to talk to Arjun about at MTG Stocks, where occasionally one of us will suggest a feature. You could get the MTG Stocks premium account and get access to some of these features we've suggested. We're not reinventing the wheel here with MTG Finance, but what we are doing is automating some of the work that you don't want to do every day. You listen to this podcast and we tell you what matters, and then you go to that website and we'll tell you what matters there too. You know, we understand you could do this, but do you want to? No. You
And
want to pay
until
us
that
to do it for
feature-
you.
Until that feature is implemented, if you are looking to do a little CSV spreadsheet work and figure out how to get a direct premium on something, the best way to do that is to export things directly from TCGplayer. So if you're a seller on the platform, you go to the pricing tab, you hit export filtered CSV, whatever, whether it's your entire inventory or whether it's specific sets, and then you upload that CSV into either any sort of whatever spreadsheet thing you want, and then you will sort the categories by direct low, and then you would run that against either TCG market or TCG low. And because when you export it from TCG, it will have all that pricing data. So until MTG Stocks does its wizardry coding thingy and gives you a tool so that you don't have to do this, if you are curious about whether something has a huge direct premium right now, you can do the work and you can just sort of finagle some pricing data and some lines on a spreadsheet, and then you can say, oh, Clock of Omens direct low, what is that right now? $10.47 compared to its $8.79 market price, or compared to the Fifth Dawn copies of Clock of Omens, which are like $2 market price. You can run the numbers and see the in the moment direct premium of that card. It's not going to work for across every single card because not every single card is going to have a direct low or have a giant direct premium, but you can sort of poke around a bit and see where the direct premiums lie, where the biggest deltas are between those two columns on a spreadsheet.
Yep, very nicely stated and a very useful tool. learning Excel is like a rite of like, and I don't mean just like learning to use Excel, but like learning what Excel can do really felt like a rite of passage for me as an adult.
I know.
If they told us
Michael-
in school, we could have gotten up to some bullshit with it. Like we would have paid more attention.
It does so much more than you think it does. Like,
Yeah. One of Michael's favorite quotes behind the booth is that it is a travesty that they do not teach VLOOKUP in elementary or in like American education.
that is
systems.
exactly what I was thinking of.
Also,
Like,
that you
yeah.
could just go to Khan Academy and learn Excel. Why don't you?
There you go. That's
Why don't
some
we all
free
like?
advice
Yeah,
right
why don't
there.
they teach it in school? Why don't you fucking go learn at school?
There's
You're learning to.
probably- Yeah, there's probably an app that allows you to do that, like a Duolingo style app. I'm sure Khan Academy has evolved at that point, but like some form of gamification dopamine generator that allows you to like
Yep.
spend 5-minute increments and get your.
Well, I'll tell you
Excel
that,
knowledge.
yeah, a lot of websites offer gamification to prospective companies, so I'm certain that there's a lot of this out there. But if that's something you want to get into, go for it. And if you want to get into this week's Breaking Bulk, you can listen to this Unguessable card. It's a colorless uncommon from Unfinity. Unfinity.
Which one's Unfinity?
Does before I answer this,
Galaxy foils.
does air quotes colorless mean it can be a stupid sticker that technically doesn't have a color?
No, it's a real card.
Unfinity.
It's $1.
I don't think I should have to participate in this. This shouldn't
Told
count
you.
in my win-loss record.
Told you.
Like, this, you should be
We did-
disqualified for this.
We
I'm
did
guessing.
just have Jimmy on the cast last week, and he sung a lot of praises about Unfinity. Wait, is this the third one? Is this the?
No,
This is the fourth one.
this is the Galaxy Foil Lands one.
Okay, then I will not guess it. You are correct.
I would not have guessed it either.
Does it roll dice? Is it a Mr. House thing?
Let's see. Jason, you give up?
Yeah, sure, man. Who gives a shit?
If I guess it, if it does roll dice, I get partial credit.
Sure, man. Strength testing hammer. Whenever equipped creature attacks, roll a 6-sided dice.
Aha!
Die. That creature gets plus XO until end of turn. Then, if it has the greatest power or is tied for the greatest power among creatures on the battlefield, draw a card. It equips for 3.
You know what's funny?
I
That is
believe
not
it's a small
showing up
text,
in
but-
Mr. House's top cards, but Clown Car and Comet
Yep.
Stellar Pup are.
That's why Comet has blown up, and that's why I was looking at this
Yeah.
this week, is because Comet's blown up. Clown
Well,
Car's been
Clown
climbing
Car,
for 2
yeah,
weeks.
Clown Car's up
Yeah.
to like $10 from
Yeah,
like
Clown Car's been going for a couple weeks.
Clown Car.
Yeah, so this is
The Celebrate 1000. If you want to pick something that hasn't popped yet, Celebrate 1000 is a good place.
My pick of the week is also rolling dice related. For what it's worth.
Mine too, actually. Isn't that funny? Well, anyway,
Neato.
I got a breaking bulk of the week.
all right. Let's hear it.
I think it's well on its way, but this is still a card I'm seeing people bulk and not realize it should be pulled out. It is an MKM, Murders at Karlov Manor. Red uncommon.
Crime scene.
Prime
Prime
novelist.
novelist is Bug Nutty, and it is about $1. It's under $2 for foils. It's under $1 for non-foils. I don't know how I feel about foils lately, that they are basically trash now.
Yep.
Yep.
So maybe the non-foils are where you park money.
I'll tell you that as a
rules.
buyer, I recently spent a bunch of store credit at TCGplayer to upgrade all of my decks with cards from the last few years. I don't know if upgrade's the right word, but you know what you mean. Like I put new cards in them.
Yeah.
And I actually chose multiple times to get full art foils and not pay a few dollars more. I'm sorry, full art cards and not pay a few dollars more for the foil because I did not want curled cards. I was like, why risk it? No
Yeah.
one cares about them anymore. Foils were and like some of the foils matter, right?
And some
Like
of the foils you can't even tell if they're in
yeah.
a sleeve.
Yeah, like the ones that don't have a big premium, I literally just don't want to deal with the curl. So no, which sucks because I like to fool most of my commander decks are somewhat foiled at least. But yeah, that as a buyer, that was actually a choice that I found myself making multiple times. Food for thought.
If you go deep on something like Crime Novelist 2, let's say you find a pocket of a store that just has 50 copies for a good deal, you get them all, and you have the choice between foil and non-foil. Outing the non-foils is so much easier
Yeah.
than trying to find a store who is willing to buy that risk of the dozens of foil copies.
And then
True.
if they do say, hey, these are a little cloudy, you're like, cool, send them back. And then the price has gone back to where it was. And if you get a strike while the iron is hot, they're less likely to nitpick the condition of a card that you've basically been packed to sleeve and then put in your inventory. You know, the foils they might beat you up over, but like you're not gonna jack up a near mint non-foil copy. I don't mess with foils anymore.
Yeah,
They
and
make
here's
me
a
sad now.
here's a weird consideration. Think about the card Crime Novelist. It's an uncommon that's clearly going to be a commander standout from the set. Right now, there is no fancy version of it, right? There's just a regular version and a foil, right? So if you think, okay, so if you're thinking about which to invest in, if you're looking at it that way, right? If you want 50 of one of those two things, the thing that punishes you is the reprint, right? When it gets reprinted, it is likely to be reprinted in a master set or something where they say, hey, this is a commander staple. And then you get a showcase version of the card that automatically becomes cooler than the foil version in the first place. So then you're left with the undesirable version of the foil, and it's never going to recover from a reprint. Whereas the regular version could recover, just based on
And that used to be the opposite advice. The opposite used to be, well, if they put it in a commander precon or something like that, they won't reprint it in foil. Therefore, the reprint is kind of the fact that it's foil is insulated from the effect of a reprint. And now it's a complete opposite. It's so funny how many axioms that we have to like completely flop every couple of years just because the game is so different than it was when we started this.
It's kind of fun, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot better than...
I'm complaining that I have to like pay attention to the changing market. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, look, it's a lot better in my opinion than being like, things were so much better back in the day. Like,
well, they were,
I like
though.
that this... Well, sure. But I like that our podcast is offering timely advice for 2024 with the market as it is, not as the market was when we started making this podcast and we never changed. That's all.
A segment we need to bring back is Corbin's old email laptop. For those who don't know, which is actually going to be probably a decent number of people.
A lot of people, yeah.
We used to have listeners send in email requests for knowledge of, hey, I opened this card, what do I do with it? Or what is your financial advice regarding this set or this product? And that happened throughout, I'd say, 2012 to 2013, 2014. And Corbin, in his infinite knowledge of wisdom, only stored those emails on a certain old work laptop and then put it in a time capsule somewhere. Time capsule like being a very generous definition for that. And we cracked it open, I think, over COVID or a little before COVID, and we're answering 2013 emails with 2019 advice.
Wow,
and I think we should bring that back.
I agree. We should. We could even do the same emails.
The same, yeah, just like...
I saved most of them. I just flagged them as having been read. I'll have to try to find... I don't know if I can find... I'll give it a shot. That would be a fun one to bring
Are you going to walk into the Staples or the Best Buy with this 2-foot-long laptop, like a boomer with your gray Gandalf beard, and ask them to hack into it for you?
I'll be honest.
You're going to find a Staples?
I think we got Staples. We have Staples, yeah, man. I was at Best Buy yesterday.
We lost like 4 Best Buys over the past 8 years, maybe.
Who needs them?
I agree. I did have to go to Staples recently for printer paper when I discovered I was out, because that's one of the things I order in bulk very infrequently, and then when I run out, I just assume I have more of it. But
you need it.
I went in there because I heard that they had PS5s when nobody had PS5s. I went in there. It was like a wasteland, like empty shopping bags were blowing like tumbleweeds. A dude in a ripped shirt. It's like, please, I haven't been outside in weeks. Buy something. It was sad.
Joanne's Fabrics filed for bankruptcy recently.
Oh, no.
Millennial assassination of
man.
honest small business at its core.
It's not millennials doing that. We're killing Applebee's and shit. It's the boomers that are killing Toys R Us.
Well, Toys R Us is... listen, Toys R Us is dead. And if the boomers...
No, Toys R Us lives on as a parasite on Macy's, which are also closing.
Actually, to be honest, Toys R Us now exists as a pop-up shop in airports. Literal branded Toys R Us at the Dallas airport. That's a thing.
That's incredible.
Fun
If
fact.
Amazon were smart, they would just buy all those old Toys R Us and be like, here's where you can just have a bunch of laptops to buy the toys on Amazon after your kids play with them.
Hasbro is saved. Toys R Us is back. DFW airport. But no, apparently that's their thing. That's whatever, conglomerate ended up with the brand after however many bankruptcy transactions or whatever. It now exists again at malls. Which is probably pretty good. Like, because toy stores are a thing, or I'm sorry, not malls. I meant airports. But like toy stores are things at airports. So like you got that Toys R Us branding? Hell yeah. Maybe we'll sell more Hasbro toys again. Anyway, that's just the world is changing, the market is changing. Toys R Us is back. But if the boomers are killing Joann's, it's mostly just by dying.
I had this idea growing up that if video games had been better, I wouldn't have had to with toys at all. And my kids have the option. They really like their toys still.
Oh.
Like Sword really likes his monster trucks. And he has amazing video game options. Given the option, he would rather use his imagination and play with monster trucks. So I think that's why toys haven't gone away entirely, because there's something to them. They feel as interactive as video games do to a bitter, jaded adult.
Well, also when Ben and I watch Jurassic Park or something, he really wants to go get his dinosaur toys so he can just play with them as he's watching it, right? Same for anything. So it creates the connection. Okay, we've got some after hours there. You should all definitely go check out because it was good. Brainstorm Brewery after hours that you can find at Patreon.
That is the worst sales pitch of all time.
No, it was great, and that's why we're still trying to recover from it. But patreon.com/BSB. We appreciate all of your support. It makes all of this possible, et cetera, et cetera. Subscribe for those after hours because that was worth it. All right, let's talk about Fallout. The fallout from Fallout, if you will.
Get the
I won't.
out of here.
I won't.
I continue to use it. I continue to use that over and over.
It's so obvious.
In articles.
Hey, look, the joke wrote itself. That's not a compliment.
It's not a joke. It's a subheader. Over and over. It's a subheader. It's so good. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, a lot of these cards are worth money already, like all the bobbleheads going up this week, like Lumbering Mega Swap.
Being broken in Legacy, baby.
Discussed that one at length yesterday. Or last week.
Yep, that's a very funny one. That's actually the top gaining card of the entire past week. So there's been a lot, but what do we think about the bobbleheads? Because these came out, they were like $1.
Oh,
right?
My pick of the week is Will Blade of Frontiers. I'll just say that now because that's that's a good bobblehead commander. I really think the thing that bridges all 4 decks, you got to bust all 4 decks to get all the bobbleheads, which is funny. But the thing that bridges all of them is it doesn't matter what set specific thing, those bobbleheads and all the dice rolling related cards are all going to be super relevant for a long time. Mr.
Same with
House,
the proliferate stuff. Yeah.
Mr. House is introducing the concept of gambling, and unlike coin flipping, the dice rolling stuff, it'll get it more added to it, but it's got a bunch of commanders other than Okon and Zender split. And that was basically about it. Plus it brings in some of the uncards. So you could have Rule 0 talks. Can I play Comet in this deck? You should say no, by the way, but
the theme of the dice rolling stuff is also just more fun to play with instead of the way the coin flippy commanders work, because they are just kind of an infecty, make my guy 10,000 and sock full of batteries you across the head. And the dice
coin
roll
flipping,
one is...
Yeah. Go ahead, DJ.
Oh, the dice roll one is just make tokens, make treasures, create more things on the board. Go. Now it's your turn. instead of
Yeah,
just 21U.
I think that the dice rolling is the way to go because you can unite a bunch of set specific things under one thing of like dice rolling. So it's like, oh, hey, the stuff from Baldur's Gate said roll a d20, but the stuff from this set said roll a d6, and anything that ever rolls the number of sides on the die can be set specific, but it's still all under the umbrella of dice rolling with respect to Commander. So like you don't have to completely reinvent the wheel. You can just like, oh, well, we roll D8s for this set. That's our thing. And then it still works fine in a Mr. House deck versus coin flipping.
Yeah.
You can't make the effect too good because they get it 50% of the time statistically.
Yeah, I agree. Like dice rolling is just a better implementation than coin flipping, right?
Even though you get to play Krark's Other Thumb and like a bunch of other.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine as a design
Unset
space to
BS.
exist, but yeah, it definitely limits the what there is there.
That should be a bargain for it. He's like, you can rule 0 in like some wacky card, but you can't play Soul Ring. Like you have to cut some EDH Direct top
I like
100
that.
card for every bulk
Yeah,
card you
that's
put
a
in. You can't like
Great
run
idea,
tutors.
actually. Great
Yeah.
idea. Huh. Every acorn.
Yeah, every acorn you have to take out a staple.
So the other thing to think about with the bobbleheads, I don't think everyone has really internalized this, and I don't think the market has fully priced this in yet, but being an uncommon or a common or a rare in a precon doesn't mean anything.
Right.
There is
It
one
means
in-
a little bit. Let's-
In terms of
It's
reprints
more
or
of an
whatever.
indicator of their perceived power level than a
Yes.
measure of their scarcity relative to other cards.
Correct.
It used to be, and I don't know if this is true or not, so do correct me if I'm wrong, but it used to be the rarity was an indicator of the number of decks the card appeared in.
Yeah.
So common meant it was in every deck, so Thought Vessel in C15 was in every deck, therefore it was common. If something was uncommon, it was in a couple of decks. If something was rare or mythic, it was in one of the precons.
I have
And
no
you know
idea.
what's
if that's
really
true or
funny
not.
about
Yeah.
Corbin bringing up this point with respect to Fallout specifically? This set has collector boosters, so the relative rarity does actually matter in the collector boosters.
Right. So it does in the collector boosters, but in terms of, say, the bobbleheads,
Yeah.
I think that the perceived value of them was much lower because they just come out of the gate as uncommons, and they've all been climbing.
But there's only
massively.
5. There's a 5 set per 4 decks, like any other like
Exactly.
rare card, right? Yeah.
Right. So, like, sure, collector boosters exist or whatever, but just the good cards are the good cards, and if they can be expensive. That's what we're seeing. The bobbleheads are not just going up a little; they're going up a lot.
Because
they're not going to be
they're
$1.
like the Nazgul. They're like
Exactly.
Slime Against
That's
Humanity.
exactly
It's
right.
one of those things where like, well, you can play with a bunch of them and you need all of them. So what we're seeing is some of these cards, their rarity matters less than like the fact that you need more than one of them relative to like, you know, an EDH playset of a card is 1 card, right?
Right.
But
Yeah.
like a Nazgul playset is 9 Nazgul. That's 9 EDH decks worth. So like people aren't prepared to have to fight 9 times harder to get copies of a card that are used to being like, oh yeah, I'll just buy the one for my deck. So
Mhm.
they're if one of them is good, then all of them are good. So they had 5 times as many chances to catch on.
Exactly. I mean, well, that's what I was going to say is that also, just as a trend, we've seen the good cards from, like, so we know what the good cards from Fallout are at this point for the most part, right?
Yeah.
We see what people want. If you look at Warhammer, we at this point knew what the good cards were. The prices were what they were.
Yep.
Within 6 months, the prices on all the Warhammer cards that people liked just kept going up and up and up, and they did not get reprinted, and they're still going up. Poxwalker went up in the past week and a half or whatever, right?
So
And
you can
it's
already
just-
look at what the stuff that's
right.
Nuka
So the,
Cola
like the
vending machine.
bobbleheads, yes, yeah, the
Brad
bobbleheads
Storm,
are going
yeah.
up, and all of this stuff that is popular now. It's going to hit peak supply. I keep an eye on the prices
Mm-hmm.
at MTG stocks, etc. But just sort of factually based on some previous examples, namely Warhammer, the good cards go up because with all the product releases and the decks being expensive and all of these things, the collector boosters only go so far. the good cards stay the good cards, and Nuka-Cola vending machine is not getting reprinted anytime soon.
Plus, there are people that have never heard of Fallout before that are going to find the show on Amazon.
True. It'll have a second boost. Yeah.
Yeah. Because they try to time it right to coincide, but like, you can never do that.
Not perfectly, but they didn't. They've done all right.
They got it the same year at least. They did Lord of the Rings TV show, but that TV show was so bad everybody forgot they tried to coincide with it.
I liked it.
Yeah, sure, man. You're allowed. I liked Wheel of Time, but that's apparently an objectively wrong opinion also.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, speaking of objectively wrong, I'll give you another opportunity to do that. It's time for Pick of the Peak. All right, so Pick of the Peak means that I'm going to give the two of you a card. It's a popular Magic card, a card you know. No tricks here, no secrets. I'll tell you what the card is, and I'll tell you what printings it has, and you can tell me when that card peaked in price. Pick of the Peak.
Or what price?
When and what price.
Oh, geez. All right.
I would like to know both of those things to the best of your ability, and that card is Aura Shards from Invasion.
$35.
Let Jason go. Okay.
Yeah,
when
I
do you
would
think?
say that, but I'm trying to think when, because it did get a reprint, and it was...
Would you like the reprints?
Yes.
Commander, the original Commander, Mystery Boosters, and the list.
Well, what year?
I'm going to say $35 in 2018.
Okay.
Yeah, probably
Jason?
got a 20. I would think we'd get a 2018 or 2019 reprint, but that was a card that like, I don't know if it was quite 35. I want the under at 34, but
Okay, Jason wants the
DJ's
under at
pretty
35.
close, but,
Fair
like,
enough.
Yeah, I want. You're not going to tell us what year the Mystery Booster
I'll give.
was?
Mystery Booster printing was original Mystery Booster, and it was 2019. That's why.
Yeah, so I can give you the year on that. That's no problem. That was right at the end of 2019.
Because the original Commander one, like, who knows what it did? Because
I'll tell you that the mystery
popularity of the format.
I'll tell you that
honestly,
the
like, it got the reprint and went down in price, but like, I don't see this card played that much anymore.
I play it in a couple decks, but I agree it's not one you see that often.
Yeah, I
it
think
doesn't have
DJ's
an-
spot on $30 to $35 in 2018.
Okay, well, I'm going to blow y'all's minds.
Uh,
Oh no.
Was it 50?
Aura Shards from Invasion.
Yeah.
Peaked at $22 on February 26, 2024.
It's the highest it's ever
Wait,
been.
so was the reprinted one ever higher? Is my question.
I'm going to look at
I
every
can understand
version.
if the Invasion one has always been lower. I'm
No
curious to see
version.
If the
That
the
don't make
Commander
no
reprint
sense.
or the
Nope,
MB
the commander reprint was peaked at $20.05, like $20.05
Really?
in 2019.
Maybe I'm
And
thinking
it
of
is.
direct premiums from back then.
Yeah, and
That
it's
doesn't
currently
seem right.
uh,
Okay.
it's currently
I
around.
thought Aura
Yeah.
Shards got a lot bigger.
Listen,
like I'm saying, I
2018?
don't see it as much anymore.
2018, it was $12, $13. It climbed up to $16 by 2019.
That's wild.
Started falling in 2020, got down to $9, started climbing again at the beginning of 2023, and just spiked a week or two ago up above 20, and has now come a little
That's
bit back down.
bonkers. All right.
I thought so too. Shocked me because I agree with you. You almost never see it.
But
it's so
this could be one of
slow
those
and-
Mandela
yeah.
things too.
Well,
Where we just assumed it was more because like $20 for a previous bulk rare, that's unheard of.
Well, I also it's interesting, and I wasn't trying to get you all when I was looking up cards, but then I found this one. I was like,
Yeah.
wow. I didn't like start when I was looking up cards with the intention of tricking you, but yeah, it shocked me as well. But I think the thing is, even in 2018 or 2019, Aura Shards was played a lot more in Commander, but Commander just wasn't played as much as it is now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now Aura Shards hasn't been reprinted in a billion years.
But like people
Um,
just don't even know it's an option anymore because like sure it was in early precons, but what percentage of people who play EDH now do you think were playing Magic at all when the first precon came out?
Do you
Like
remember
20%
those?
Maybe.
Yeah, but 20 sounds
Yeah.
about right. Yeah.
Do you remember those first run of precons? They were-
Yeah.
Oh,
I had a
remember you
friend
to
who-
take
yeah.
trade secrets out of them.
What?
Trade Secrets is a card in the I think
It was
Jeskai
banned because people were going with their buddy to like.
Oh, it was banned in Commander.
And they were just like, "Oh, you draw 7, you draw 7, you draw 7, you draw 7," and they would just like deck each other and then win the pod.
Yeah.
Oh,
With Lab
weird.
Maniac or something like that. Yeah.
I see. Huh. I had a buddy who got the set of them. We jammed them against each other, like just with the precons. It was a whole event. It was, and the cards now in retrospect were so
Bad.
Well,
Magmatic
the thing
is-
Force.
They're all either very good or very bad, like Aura Shards.
Yeah,
They're all
yeah.
either
Yeah.
unplayable or they are
Or
like-
oppressive. Yeah.
yeah. But like a lot of the mechanics to an extent, like join forces, I think was a mechanic. Like
Yeah.
they just didn't. They were not made with full understanding of
We
how
were such
Commander was
competitive
played, you know?
douchebags too. We like played EDH ironically, just like, let's play this stupid format.
I
And,
was
like,
always in on it, man. It was fun.
yeah, it was fun, but
We
I
made
was
fun
like,
of
I'm
it,
not,
but
I,
it was
I was
fun.
like, I'm not gonna go build a deck, but I'll play with the precons. That was kind of how I felt about it.
Yeah, I mean, I built my Teneb deck pretty early on, but we definitely memed on the format. It's funny, we also memed on CEDH, and now they're running big tournaments. How about that, Jason?
Well, I didn't meme on CEDH on its merits as much as its messengers.
The people who play CEDH, yeah, completely reasonable.
That's all I'm gonna say about that.
If you're going to come at us in the comments, make sure to give us the like or the dislike even. You can slam that dislike button, youtube.com/Brainstorm Brewery.
Yeah, you know where you should about how I don't respect any CEDH players? Go to commandersherald.com, the home of CEDH content, and register your complaint there. Make sure you click on a bunch of links.
Direct your complaints to Jake Fitzsimons.
Yeah,
right? That's the,
Jake should handle all those complaints.
All right. Well, before we get out of here this week, I think, of course, we want to leave you, as we do every week, with our pick of the week.
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
But I already
Now, I know
gave my pick of the week. way
Jason
earlier.
teased one earlier, but I'm going to give you a freebie here right at the beginning.
No, wait, Corbin, you can't. Because mine segues out of Jason's.
Yeah, but mine is going to be an ad read. So.
Mine's gonna be an ad read.
So,
Fine. Take the wheel. Take the captain's wheel with the little spokes on it, you ship captain.
Captain Capitalism. Jesus, take the wheel.
dude,
Top to
Captain
read
Cap-
an ad.
Captain Capitalism is actually an amazing.
I'm Captain Capitalism. I will steer us towards the biggest vendors.
Holy shit, dude! If you made that,
it's a
if you
blue
put on a captain's hat, man, call yourself Captain Capitalism on TikTok, you will be fucking huge.
It's a blue unitard suit with just a blue check mark on it.
Like if you just ironically, if you did like Stephen Colbert capitalism takes, calling yourself Captain Capitalism, A+ you TikTok.
I'm Captain
For the 6 months-
Capitalism. I will
for the
pay
6
somebody
months.
to beat your ass.
For the 6 months TikTok is still allowed here, you'll be a hit.
Get like a Captain Crunch hat.
Yeah, dude.
I'm gonna pay the police to stop and frisk you. How about that?
All right, so
I
everybody,
just turned your favorite
yeah.
crack den into a vegan dog bakery. Take that. With the power of gentrification, I, Captain Capitalism.
Jason, you sound like the mayor from Paw Patrol.
I wouldn't know because I don't watch Paw Patrol, and neither do my kids because
Neither
it's
do
fucking
we, but I
propaganda.
am aware of it. Yeah, fuck
I'm
Paw
Captain
Patrol, but I
Capitalism
am.
and my sidekick, Ronnie Reaganomics.
Holy shit.
We're gonna trickle the justice down on them, aren't we? That's right.
Wow. You're gonna get
Oh
tired of
no,
winning.
it's Captain Communism here to stop us. That's right. I'm going to give you a beating according to your
Comrade.
need and
Comrade
according to my
Communist.
ability.
Gee Willikers, Captain, he stole my dementia beam.
It's Comrade Communism for sure.
I don't take notes from imperialist swine.
Meanwhile, I'm going to say the villain is probably trying to save the environment or something.
I read a tweet that said Captain Planet's not real, but all of his villains are, and I got really sad.
Oh no! Oh god! Captain Planet was a psyop, man.
Didn't work.
Cartoon villains can't be real life villains.
People who
can
used
they?
to watch Captain Planet turn into the kind of fucking nerd that mines Bitcoin. Like, it had the opposite effect.
All right, JJ, you should actually keep most of that in. That was pretty funny.
Captain Planet, what's wrong? A bunch of boomers decided that it was cheaper to live on cruise ships than it would be to live in a retirement community. Oh!
All right, well, my pick of the week, the bonus pick of the week here, after all of that, is Coalesce Apparel and Design, where you can use the gift code Brainstorm Brewery to get 10% off your order, including those beautiful original Brainstorm art.
You gotta stop doing that, man. You saying, "Oh, but it's our pick of the week," and then it's an ad pitch, man. That's like,
Also,
it's like the people saying they're trying to eradicate smallpox and they were really looking for Bin Laden. Like, you're undermining people's trust in
That's
the
what
entire
it's like.
enterprise.
Of all the analogies in the world, that's what it's like.
Yeah, that's what you're like.
Okay, that's what it's like.
I was just going to make a subtle little attention to detail that Mercadian Masks Brainstorm is not the original one, but you know.
Shut up, nerd.
Let's go with Bin Laden.
Quit pulling your punches. Let's remind everybody that Corbin Hostler is worse than Bin Laden. He is the CIA undermining public trust in public health to find Bin Laden, and that's worse.
On the Coalesce shirts, I want to let everybody know that we heard your complaints, and unlike Wizards, we have removed the reserved list from those shirts. There will be another print run of these shirts and hoodies coming out in May or June, so for now you can feast on all of the wonderful other content creators who have made the same material. Don't worry, ours are not strictly better than everyone else's, but
just mostly better.
But they will make you look strictly better.
And so the Mercadian Masks Brainstorm and the other shirts will be back May or June, I was told, and then we are still looking to get that other third shirt done at some point this year, so stay tuned to that. All right, Jason, yours was Will something from Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, baby.
What's it called?
Blade of Frontiers.
Frontiers.
You can choose a background, so there are lots of different ways to build Will, but if you would roll one or more dice, you instead roll that many plus one and ignore the lowest roll. So Will is going to get you more bobblehead action. He's currently like a buck. There's a really nice etched foil with a different frame that I think is probably, because I hate the Dungeons and Dragons PHB treatment.
Yeah.
Most people do.
Yeah. So I think the best version is the etched foil.
Original Carlock sells for $20, and the showcase version sells for half of that, roughly.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
So if you don't like the etched foil or the promo version, the regular version is the cheapest currently, but I think it might be the most desirable. Will, he rolls dice. That's good. We like that.
I'm gonna Uno reverse Jason's pick because mine is Will's reversal.
No!
All right. Nice.
Now Will is dead.
The instant speed 3-mana spell that says choose target speller ability with one or more targets. You'll roll your d20, add the greatest power among creatures you control. 1 through 14 is a redirect, where you may retarget that speller ability. If you get a 15 plus, you may choose new targets and then copy it and redirect it. So
it's kicker.
Yeah, it's kicker.
It's just reiterate where the kicker is die roll.
But it's also 1 less mana, which is just excellent. So Will's reversal started out at around 50 cents. It has climbed to above $1, and this is only
it's not done.
This is only in Baldur's Gate or has a pre-release promo. So hard to reprint, dice rolls, etc. All the same stats as Jason's. Pick them up as a pair.
All right,
Damn,
there you go.
adjoining picks of the week.
We did it. Synergy. I'm going to come in with a card I'm very confident in, and I would not make this pick unless I weren't, because it's an expensive card. But Atraxa Grand Unifier is the next Shieldred.
The next
It's
Shield.
third- I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be $100. I'm saying that it is going to be far and away the most expensive card in the set, as opposed to just simply the most expensive card in the set. Shieldred is whatever, but Atraxa is $25 to $27 right now. It's been climbing up over the past few weeks. It's in the best deck in Modern. It's in multiple decks in Standard. We're about to have a Standard Pro Tour in which it's in. The card is already starting to climb. It's just going to be $40 to $50 in my opinion. So, I'm a big believer in where Atraxa is at right now. It's just seeing play in every format, and it is in a format where people can play Gristlebrand. They're choosing to play more Atraxas than Gristlebrands to reanimate. So that's where I'm at on it.
Is this going to see enough 4 of action to justify that?
That is what the graph right now indicates to me, that it already did its climb up to 20, kind of stagnated at 20 for a month or so, and has since started to climb again. So that's my take for this. It's seen play in Goryo's Vengeance is the best combo shell in Modern right now, where it's a 4 of. That's what's caused the growth so far. It sees 4 of in the Standard domain decks, in addition to any reanimation decks, which also exists in Standard. Yeah, I mean, I'm mostly picking this based off the graph, just based on seeing it everywhere. But looking at the set, it's this and Elish Norn. And Elish Norn's about $20 as well. Elish Norn has been flat at $20 for the past several months. Atraxa has climbed from 20 up to 26 or so, and I think it's just going to keep going.
So you guys were not on the cast last week, but Cass's pick was the Eldrazi instant Not of This World.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked a little bit about how it synergizes with Atraxa, and that you can pick it because it's a tribal card or typal.
Mm-hmm.
And it protects your Atraxa because it's a typal cards.
That's funny.
Yeah, so you can just pick Not of This World and then another instant, because one of them is typal, one of them is an instant.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And it protects it from anybody. Wow, that is certainly a wrinkle for that deck.
We also talked about the fact that you can use Not of This World to target your Lumbering Mega Sloth.
Oh, gosh.
Which is particularly funny to me, and I made this joke last time, but I just love picturing the spikiest, most cutthroat 2013 Magic player heavily with their foiled out Delver deck, just bridge shuffling it, sweating profusely.
Yeah.
And they try to target this Universes Beyond card, which is the mythos of everything they hate about Magic in the past 5 years. They're like, get rid of that stupid card. And then the person gets to manga panel, they go, wait, Nani, my Mega Sloth is Not of This World.
Also, Not of This World, by the way, was a $4 card last year before it got reprinted in Commander Masters. So,
yes.
That's a nice low time to pick it, cheap time to pick it up. But yeah, all right.
Fantastic.
There you go, everybody. Well, this was a fun episode of Brainstorm Brewery. We thank all of you, as always,
was there an
for
hour
tuning
usable
in.
podcast here? That's what I always wonder.
That is
I
the
know how
question
long
every
we've
week.
been recording. I don't know how much we can let
There's
people
plenty of
listen
meat
to.
on the bone for JJ, don't worry.
Yeah, well, everybody, thank you for listening. Shout out to our sponsors, MTG Stocks and Coalesce Apparel and Design. Thank you to everyone who is a patron at patreon.com/BSB. You make this podcast possible. We appreciate all of your support.
There may be some raft content in the near future.
Sounds like there might be. There might be. It's pretty fun.
Rafter hours.
Looking for After Hours. Look for that one up on YouTube. All right, everybody, thank you for listening to Brainstorm Brewery. We'll see you next week.